Call the meeting of the City Council for, what date is it? October 23rd, 2017 to order. Please stand as we salute the American flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilor Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we start tonight's meeting, I'd like to ask everyone to take a moment of silence. This past week, the city of Brockton lost a great public servant. Many people knew him as Mr. Democrat. He was in this chamber so often that he was given a name tag right in that chair, but he wasn't just Mr. Democrat and a great political worker. He was a true servant to the people of Brockton. I'm speaking of Paul Red Sullivan, who has done so much for so many, but has served the people of Brockton as a longtime member of the License Commission. He's been on the Planning Board. He's served on 2 or 3 other boards and commissions, always been here for the people of Brockton, always there to serve the public, and again, known to most of us for his political Mr. Democrat, and but truthfully in this chamber did as many things as any of us have ever done. And I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for Mr. Sullivan. Thank you.
Rest in
He
peace.
truly will be missed, and may he rest in peace. First item on the agenda, Mr. Clerk.
The acceptance of the minutes of the City Council meeting of October 10th, 2017.
Accepted and placed on file. Councilor Cruz.
I'd make a motion we take item number 2 out of, it's not out of order, act on it this evening under suspension of rules.
That's nice.
Motion's been made and seconded. We're going to take item number 2 and act on that this evening. All in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed? Mr. Clerk?
The appointment of Brendan R. Weeks to the rank of Fire Lieutenant in the Brockton Fire Department.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Masak,
Yes.
Beauregard,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Ianieri,
Yes.
Farwell,
Yes.
Lally,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Zadinsky,
Yes.
8 in the affirmative.
And the order has been adopted that Mr. Weeks is now Lieutenant of the Brockton Fire Department. I saw Mr. Weeks is right here. Please stand up and take a bow. Congratulations, Lieutenant, and we wish you the very best. I'm sure you'll continue doing what you've always done and keeping the city of Brockton safe. We appreciate that. We'll take just a 2-minute recess so everybody can talk with Mr. Weeks for a few minutes. City Council is back in order. Councilor Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I make a motion for reconsideration on item number 2.
Second.
In the hopes that it does not prevail.
Motion is made and seconded for reconsideration. In hopes it does not prevail. All in favor? Opposed? Does not prevail.
Okay, good.
We will now go to number 3.
Petition of Verizon New England and Mass Electric Company, proposal to relocate pole 1, Chester Avenue, approximately 13 feet northerly along the easterly sideline of Chester Avenue. This work is required for the relocation and placement of a new anchor needed for guying.
Time having arrived, I declare this hearing open, and if there's anyone here present, please come forward.
I represent Verizon.
Your name?
Joellen Mullen.
Oh, Joellen.
Is there anyone else that, go ahead, you continue on, then I'll ask the next question.
I'm here to propose approval of the petition to move the pole 13 feet to provide an anchor to support the pole currently that's in place.
Okay, very good. Is there anyone else here that wants to be heard in favor of? I'd ask them to come forward and state their name as well to the clerk. Seeing none, I'm going to declare that part of the hearing closed. Anybody here in opposition to this request, I'd ask that they come forward and state their name to the clerk. Seeing as none, I declare that part of the hearing closed. And we will answer, Councilor Cruz.
I'm not sure if we can, but we had postponed from the last meeting, number 13 is a petition concerning a poll. I don't know if she's prepared to speak on it, but
Yes, I have those.
could we
I
take
had
that
an
out of
unfortunate
order?
card mishap.
It's a motion to take that out of order and act on that.
Okay, so this hearing is closed right here, so a motion's been made, seconded, and that we take item number, would be number
13.
Number 13.
Okay.
Out of order, all in favor? Opposed? Number 13, we just have to have it read.
Just have to read it and
Yep.
then open up. Granting of Verizon New England Inc. and Mass Electric Company to relocate one jointly owned pole, P81, on the westerly side of Main Street, pole 81 to be placed at a point on the westerly side of Main Street, approximately 16 feet in a general northerly direction from existing location of pole 81. In council, October 10th, 2017, postponed until the next council meeting.
At this time, I declare the hearing open. Is anybody here present in favor of, please come forward and state your name to the address.
Hi, my name is Joellen Mullen, representing Verizon. We're requesting the relocation of this pole per the customer request so that he can move his vehicles in and out of the current driveway.
Okay, anyone else that needs to be heard in favor of this particular request, please come forward and state your name to the clerk. Seeing none, I declare that part of the hearing closed. Anybody here in opposition, please come forward and state their name. Seeing none, I declare that part closed. Can we vote on both of them right now? Or do we have to wait till the end?
Let's go wait until the end.
And we'll vote on both of these right at the end of the agenda, okay?
Take a short recess for 1 second.
Sure, we're going to take just a short recess for 1 second.
Okay. Yes.
Council back in session. Mr. Clerk.
We're back to item number 12, which is the petition that was just heard.
Correct.
Okay, and that's of Verizon New England Inc. and Mass Electric Company, relocate one jointly owned pole 81, P81 at the westerly side of Main Street, pole 81, to be placed at a point on the westerly side of Main Street, approximately 16 feet in a generally northerly direction from existing pole. Location of pole 81, the one pole location is necessary in order to allow ingress and egress from an existing driveway. In council, October 10th, 2017. Hearing postponed until next council meeting.
And we've already done the hearing on that, so again, we will take action on this at the end of the meeting. Councilor Studinsky.
Mr. President, I move that we take number 20 out of order,
Second.
and I'll be asking that we postpone it to the next council meeting.
Next city council meeting. Motion has been made and seconded that we take item number 20 out of order. All in favor of that? Opposed? And what we're going to do at this point in time, I'm going to move that this item be postponed until our next regular city council meeting, which I believe will be that second Monday in November.
Yeah, so November.
All in favor of that? Opposed? So granted.
Okay,
That's the next council meeting in November.
okay,
Or first council meeting in November, I should say.
yeah, which would be like
Recess so that these people could...
the 13th.
Yeah, and we're going to take just a 2-minute recess because I know some of the sisters are here.
All right.
Council's back in session. Mr. Clerk,
Report of the Ordinance Committee for its meeting of October 12, 2017.
accepted and placed on file.
Report of the Finance Committee for its meeting of October 16, 2017.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the Council President appointing Janice Johnson Plummer to the Brockton Commission on Women's Issues to fill the unexpired term of Lizetta Johnson.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the Brockton Affordable Housing Trust requesting the Brockton Council consider removing their order of June 24, 2002 regarding parcel ID 087-086 David Street that declared lot as a non-buildable so that possible development may take place. The intention is to create a first-time owner-occupied home buyer opportunity.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the DPW Commissioner requesting that the City Council authorize the appropriation of monies awarded under the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program municipal grant from Mass Department of Environmental Protection to Refuge Department in the amount of $52,000 to be used to defray the cost of purchasing 96-gallon wheel containers for the new curbside single-stream recycling program.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the Mayor requesting the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
An ordinance amending revised ordinances of the City of Brockton, Chapter 11, licenses, permits, and business regulations, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Brockton as follows. Chapter 11, licenses, permits, and business regulations, hereby amended by adding the following article, Article 4, special events, in council July 24th, read and referred to Committee on Ordinance. That report is favorable.
Question on passage to a third reading. All in favor? Opposed? Passed to a third reading.
Mr. President,
Councilor Azak.
is it possible to have this ordinance read so the people at home can realize what we've changed, what changes have been made?
You can go back and, Mr. Clerk.
You want me to read all that?
Can we just get a
Mr. Chairman,
brief one?
Mr. President, through you to my colleague as the chairman of the ordinance committee.
Correct.
I could give a brief synopsis. It's quite a lengthy ordinance. Essentially, this will make any special events, including block parties and the like, excuse me, will now have to go through the license commission for a permit. Only the city can close the street down. The neighborhood will not be able to do it on their own anymore, and the License Commission will be able to cancel any license at any time during an event. Those are probably the three biggest things that came out of and of course, this comes out of the problem on Riddle Street back during the summer. And so now it will be a License Commission, and the license officers will have the right to go and inspect at any time during the event and shut it down if need be. those are probably the biggest things in there.
Thank you, Counselor. Thank you,
you.
Mr. President.
Counselor Rodriguez, just on this item. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, I'd like to see an augmentation of this ordinance in the sense to include that the city councilor from that area where the party is being held must be notified, so that the issue that we had in Myrtle
Right.
would not happen without your knowledge, for instance, being the councilor from that region. So I'd like to see that being added to the ordinance before we vote on this, so that once the application goes in, that the city council from that ward where the party is to take place is notified or must be notified prior to the event being held.
Okay, correct. Counselor Cruz, as chairman of the ordinance committee.
Thank you. Well, actually, I would just recommend then, since we've passed it to a third reading, that at the next council meeting, you can offer that as an amendment, correct, Mr. Clerk?
Right.
He could offer that as an amendment at the time to be added on, and then we can vote on it that night at the third reading.
Right, so that'll come up at that, also that first meeting in November that we have, okay, with the city council, intend to do it there, correct?
For the chair to Council Rodriguez, too, on that amendment, certainly you want the word must rather than may.
Must.
We'll include that. And councilors, just before I begin, I just want to go back, because my apologies, I did want to make mention, the reason why President Sullivan isn't here this evening is he's out of town for a business meeting, due back in the city tomorrow. Councilor Barnes had a little bit of a fender bender, I believe, but she's okay, and she could not be here this evening, and Councilor Monahan wasn't feeling well as well. So I just want to make sure that that goes into the record to why those three members are not here this evening. Our next item, I already get, they're going to do that. I already get, Winfow's going to do that.
Going to do that 14, 15.
Are we up to number 14, Mr. President?
Yes, we are.
All right, then after reading, I move that we take items 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 collectively.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. We're going to take items 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 collectively. All in favor of that? Opposed? Can read them, Mr. Clerk.
The following orders have been referred to the Committee on Finance and Planning, coming back with a favorable recommendation. And one is that the common necessity and convenience of the inhabitants of the city of Brockton require the laying out and acceptance of Blueberry Circle, extending from Dudley Avenue to Dudley Avenue, a distance of about 650 feet, more or less. And for that purpose, it's necessary to take an easement for highway purposes and lay out as a public street or way of said city of Brockton. To the common necessity and convenience of the inhabitants of the city of Brockton, requiring the laying out and acceptance of Dudley Avenue, extending from Parker Avenue, northerly about 775 feet, more or less. And for that purpose, it's necessary to take an easement for highway purposes and lay out as a public street or way of said city of Brockton. Common necessity and convenience of the inhabitants of the city of Brockton require the laying out and acceptance of Brookville Avenue, extending from Boundary Street to North Quincy Street, a distance of about 1,410 feet, more or less. And for that purpose, it's necessary to take an easement for highway purposes. Ordered that the common necessity and convenience of the inhabitants of the city of Brockton require the laying out and acceptance of Gary Road, extending from Boundary Avenue to Brookville Avenue, a distance of approximately 1,131.46 feet. And for that purpose, it's necessary to take an easement for highway purposes. Ordered that the common necessity and convenience of the inhabitants of the city of Brockton require the laying out and acceptance of Randolph Avenue, extending from Boundary Avenue to Brookville Avenue, a distance of approximately 1,117.82 feet. And for that purpose, it is necessary to take an easement for highway purposes and lay out as a public street or way.
The question is on adoption by roll call vote. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Asak?
Yes.
Beauregard?
Yes.
Cruz?
Yes.
Tenary,
Yes.
Farwell?
Yes.
Lally?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Kavensky?
Yes.
8 in the affirmative for items 14 through 18.
The order is adopted. Councilor Lally.
I motion for reconsideration in the hopes that it does not prevail.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for reconsideration in hopes it does not prevail. All in favor of reconsideration? All opposed? Reconsideration fails.
Order that the city hereby accepts a grant and gift from Anthony Prosper of 108 Belcher Avenue, Brockton, a flag box to be donated to the Brockton Fire Department. The estimated value of the flag box is $550. The gift will be used by the City of Brockton Veterans Services Department for collection and proper flag disposal. In council, October 10th, 2017. Refer to the Committee on Finance. That report is favorable.
Questions on adoption by roll call vote? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Asak?
Yes.
Beauregard?
Yes.
Cruz?
Yes.
Ianieri?
Yes.
Farwell?
Yes.
Lally?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Studinsky?
Yes.
8 in the affirmative.
The order is adopted.
Resolved to invite Timothy Cruz to appear before a committee of this council to update the committee on current crime rates, the Safe Streets Collaborative, and the current state of cooperation between the many public safety partners currently active in the city of Brockton, including all state and federal agencies, to also enlighten the council on any other issues that may be of interest to this council. In council, August 28, 2017. For the Committee on Finance, that report is favorable.
Questions on adoption by roll call vote? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Asak?
Yes.
Beauregard?
Yes.
Cruz?
Yes.
Ianieri?
Yes.
Farwell?
Yes.
Lally?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Studinsky?
Yes.
8 in the affirmative.
The order is adopted.
Resolved that the City Council requests that the City of Brockton's real estate custodian, Mr. Benjamin Albanese, the City Treasurer, Mr. Brophy, and the Mayor appear before the Finance Committee to provide a complete listing of what properties have been sold since his appointment, the schedule of the auction hearings, past, current, and future, a full listing of all properties currently listed as available, the amount of money raised, submitted to the general account, and any other information pertinent to the information referenced above. In council, June 26, 2017. Refer to the Committee on Finance. That report is favorable.
The questions on adoption by roll call vote? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Asak?
Yes.
Beauregard?
Yes.
Cruz?
Yes.
Ianieri?
Yes.
Farwell?
Yes.
Lally?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Studinsky?
Yes.
8 in the affirmative.
The order is adopted.
Order that the Brockton City Council remove their order of June 24, 2002 regarding parcel ID 087-086 David Street that declared lot is non-buildable so that possible development may take place.
Referred to the Committee on Real Estate.
Order that the DPW is authorized to issue one single-family home sewer connection to Nettles Barrows for the property located at 473 Howard Street, Brockton.
Referred to Finance.
Appropriation of $52,000 for Mass Department of Environmental Protection Sustainable Materials Recovery Program Municipal Grant to Refuge Department.
Referred to Finance.
Resolved to invite Ms. Paula Fisher, Assistant Director of the Plymouth County Development Council Convention and Visitors Bureau, to present briefly how Brockton can benefit from a collaboration with this organization, acquire representation, and become more involved with the upcoming events for celebrating 400 years of Plymouth in 2020.
Referred to Finance.
We have the granting of Verizon New England and Mass Electric Company proposing to relocate Pole 1, Chester Avenue, approximately 13 feet northerly along the easterly side of Chester Avenue, and the granting of Verizon New England and Mass Electric Company to relocate one jointly owned pole P81 on the westerly side of Main Street to be placed at a point on the westerly side of Main Street, approximately 16 feet in a generally northern direction from existing location of pole 81.
By hand vote, all in favor? Opposed? Granting has been made. Council is just, while I have it fresh here in front of me, there is not good, excuse me one sec. No, I just want to finish if I might. I just want to make mention that Council President did want me to inform you next Monday evening, it's October 30th, and that's the fifth Monday of the month, so there's no scheduled finance meeting for that evening. He will make a date to when we will have a finance meeting in November. Chances are we won't really be back here until after the election, which is being held on November the 7th. So I just wanted to let you know that he'll make that decision when the next finance meeting is. Councilor Isaac.
Mr. President, we only voted, I believe, on one of the Verizon. Do we need to vote on?
The other one.
Vote on both of them.
Both? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Any other,
Mr. President?
Councilor Cruz?
Just a reminder to the members of the Ordinance Committee that October 25th, Wednesday evening, in this chamber at 6 o'clock, we will have an Ordinance Subcommittee meeting.
Ordinance meeting this Monday at 6 o'clock, right here in the...
Wednesday.
I'm sorry, Wednesday, right here in the council chamber, so everybody's aware of that. Any other business to come before this council this evening? Seeing none, meeting's adjourned.